A lot of people have been telling me the signs are showing. What do they mean by that? I saw a pretty legendary statistic actually when it comes to Polkadot, because not too long ago it was reported that Polkadot activity grew more than any other blockchain this week. This is according to BSC News, and according to data from ChainSpect actually, Polkadot recorded an activity increase of around 53% in this week alone. Now, I'll explain more about this in today's video, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I am not telling anyone to do anything, this is just my personal opinion. But I think this, if anything, again, showcases just how Polkadot isn't necessarily done for. A lot of people like to tell me, oh wow, Polkadot, it's totally cooked, it's done, it's roasted, it's toasted, but I just don't think about it that way. I actually think that Polkadot seems to be still thriving, and apparently a lot of developers still haven't given up when it comes to Polkadot. Polkadot has consistently usually ranked pretty good in terms of development activity, and it hasn't really been a project that people often forgot about, because DOT, which is Polkadot's native token, that has over 1 million holders. A lot of people still care about this. Now, is that even 1% of the amount of holders that we have when it comes to this space? No. Allegedly, we have over 600 million owners when it comes to this space. Like over 1 million, that's not even 1% of 600 million. But at the same time, that is still a lot. When I take a look at a project, I typically want to take a look at where are developers paying attention to, especially when the market isn't doing the best. I want to take a look at a project where, again, a lot of these developers are focused on, because usually if they're building things and whatever they're building suddenly gains traction, if the market were to pick up, wherever they're building on typically goes along with the ride. So that's what I want to focus on. During a market downturn, I want to focus on a place where a lot of developers are focused on, in which case, when it comes to Polkadot, I do see a lot of developers focus on this. Like for instance, in terms of development activity, I'm just going to use this to kind of showcase what I mean, right? On May 19th, it was reported that by ChainSpect, in terms of most active blockchains by developer activity, Polkadot in that statistic was actually ranked 3rd in the world. It was only behind Solana and Ethereum. So that kind of showcases that, again, a lot of developers still care about this. And clearly, a lot of people like to say, wow, it's amazing if there's a lot of development activity when it comes to Solana, when it comes to Ethereum. But suddenly when it comes to Polkadot, it's considered lame, it's considered suddenly irrelevant. I disagree with that. Keep in mind, according to that chart, which I'm going to showcase on the screen, by the way, but actually in terms of most active blockchains by developer activity in regard to 2026, according to ChainSpect, Polkadot was ranked higher than the BNB chain. It was ranked higher than Cardano. It was even ranked higher than Hedera, Near. We take a look at Optimism, Arbitrum, even Bitcoin, Polygon, again, and many others. So that is pretty impressive. After all, it was ranked 3rd in the world, right? So, I mean, it's clearly overtaken a lot when it comes to that particular statistic that I mentioned before. So again, I want to focus on where are the developers caring about as of right now. Because if they're caring about a particular project and it's not doing the best when it comes to the price charts, what that only means is that a lot of these developers do see something fundamentally when it comes to that might attract them to want to build. In which case, that's greatly going to help the project, especially if the market were to take off. So this right here, I think, is clearly a pretty impressive thing that I'm seeing. However, let's also take this into consideration. The 21 shares Polkadot ETF. People like to say, wow, that is so cooked, it sucks and all this. But we have to consider the fact that there's even a Polkadot spot ETF in the US anyways, that is a massive deal. Like, that's a really massive victory. Is the price of DOT still below $2? Absolutely. I mean, it's around $1.25 as of right now. But we have to consider an ETF could have amazing long-term implications. Like, for instance, what we've seen in the case of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Take a look at what those ETFs have done for those respective projects. Sure, people like to say, but Polkadot's never going to achieve their success. True. But if the ETF helps to a smaller extent, that's a net positive. It's not a bad thing, in my opinion. And the more and more DOT, which is Polkadot's native token, is held through the ETF, that right there is going to greatly help with its stability moving forward. It's going to greatly allow for, I think, better attention when it comes to Polkadot, more notoriety, and overall just a bigger positive for it. But it takes time. It just can't happen like that overnight. So that's why I focus on these fundamentals instead of focusing all just on the price charts. People like to ask me why I don't pull up a price chart, draw some random triangles, and try to exit and enter every 5 or 10 minutes and try to map it out. I realized that's not my thing. My thing isn't drawing random triangles when it comes to the price chart, trying to figure out when things are going to go down or up on an hourly basis, on a minute basis. That's not my style. That's not what I do, right? I'm not trading. That's not me. What I'm doing is I'm holding and waiting. That's a completely different thing. It's like, for instance, you know Gore-Tex shoes, like, you know, those waterproof shoes? I realized that it's just not for me. Like, I just can't deal with it. I'm not the type that can handle that. I just feel like a bit weird, and also my feet just become really itchy. I just can't do that. Personally, for me, I need something that's breathable. Like, you know, those Brooks shoes, like the Brooks Go 17, something like that. Those are the shoes that I can deal with. I can't deal with the waterproof shoes. I just can't. This is just me, though. Much like in this space, I can't do those, oh, you know, exit every 2 minutes, enter every couple minutes. No, that's not me. I don't do that. That's not my style. What I like to do is just consistently hold, wait, and just wait and see what happens. That's it. I realized I was much better off trying to research a project and believe in it for the long term, as opposed to treat it like a 5 or 10 minute thing and try to exit and leave like that. That's just not me. And also, in a more kind of broader perspective, even if I did draw a triangle and stuff like that on the price chart, why would the market care about what I have to do? It just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't care. It's not like it's going to move because I drew some random things on a price chart, right? I mean, a lot of people like to say, oh, wow, Polkadot's going to do this tomorrow or do this, you know, in a couple of days, and suddenly it never does it. For what? I'd rather not do that and just focus on the fundamentals and just wait, and that's it. I only dollar cost average once a month, but I'm not telling anyone to do anything. With Polkadot being this low, basically, it's kind of ridiculous how it's approximately 8 times lower than where it once was in December 2024, which again is a little bit ridiculous. But in the meantime, though, I'm not going to complain about that situation, because if it could go back just to that moment only, it already literally feels like an altcoin season. It wouldn't be, but it would feel like one, just because we've had this massive of a pullback. You know, Polkadot's not too far off from its all-time low. Its all-time low is like around $1.13. And I'll actually double check that as of right now. Yeah, it is true. Yeah, it is like $1.13 actually, its all-time low. So I got that one correct. But I'm just saying, that is so close to where it is as of right now. We're only 12 cents higher than its all-time low. So it's very, very close to its historical bottom. But it's very far away from its all-time high. Did you know that the all-time high when it comes to DOT is $55 approximately? Again, we're not even, right? 30% higher than its all-time low. That is not the case. We're literally only 12 cents higher than its all-time low. That's it. So, okay, I dollar cost average as of right now. Okay, maybe it could go down. Where does it go down to? Back to $1.13? Okay. You know what I mean? It's not even a 20% pullback. But if it recovers back to its all-time high, we're clearly well over 40 times lower than that. That's the thing. And it doesn't even need to go to that. It just goes back to December of 2024. We're around 8 times lower than that. A lot of people would rejoice. They'd be so happy if Bitcoin went back to its all-time high, but Bitcoin is not 2 times lower than its all-time high. But you know what's 2 times lower than $2.50? That's Polkadot. But imagine if Polkadot just went to $2.50, a lot of people would consider it very boring. But it's actually 2 times lower than that, which is kind of ridiculous. If Bitcoin had a 300% movement from where it is as of right now, people would be, dancing. But suddenly Polkadot goes back to $2.50, it's considered bearish. And okay, I get it, $2.50 is kind of boring, some people like to say, but $10.50 approximately, if it went to around those ranges, like back in December of 2024, is that still considered boring? I don't think so, because if, let's say, Ethereum was around 8 times lower than a certain point, and it kind of went to that point and did that type of movement, a lot of people would think it's like one of the most fantastic things of all time. But did you know that, again, if Polkadot just goes back to December 2024, we're literally around 8 times lower than that? But I'm just saying, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I'm just looking at the charts, and this is my perspective. However, I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to Polkadot moving forward. Polkadot, after all, is a layer 0 blockchain, so I kind of find it a little bit interesting. But yeah, besides that point, though, I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. It's Willie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.